Welcome to another edition of Take 5. We're in Luke chapter 7, verse 18. The one who speaks on his own authority seeks his own glory, but the one who seeks the glory of him who sent him is true, and in him there is no falsehood. Let's stop right there. Let me just ask you, whose glory are you seeking? Are you seeking God's or are you seeking your own? If you're just speaking your own opinion and what you think, maybe you're seeking your own glory. If you're more concerned with what God actually says, then you're seeking God's glory. Verse 19, has not Moses given you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why do you seek to kill me? All right, now there's a good point. He says, look, you guys think you're so great. Well, Moses gave you the law. You didn't listen to him either. All right? And yet you're trying to kill me. In other words, the law says do not murder, and yet you're wanting to murder. Verse 20, the crowd answered, you have a demon. Who is seeking to kill you? Verse 21, Jesus answered them, I did one work, and you all marvel at it. Moses gave you circumcision, not that it is from Moses, but from the fathers. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If on the Sabbath a man receives circumcision, so that the law of Moses may not be broken, are you angry with me because on the Sabbath I made a man's whole body well? Now see, Jesus had healed a guy on the Sabbath. Now I'm not sure we read that in this particular gospel. Trying to look back a little bit. Don't see that. But that is the setting there, and it just isn't covered here in John, but it's covered in the other gospels. So he healed a guy on the Sabbath, and they're giving him a hard time. He says, look, you guys do stuff on the Sabbath. You'll give a guy circumcision on the Sabbath, so how about if we do something to his whole body? So he's just trying to point out their hypocrisy, see. Verse 24, do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment. And that's just a good rule of thumb for all of us, to not judge just by what we see, to look deeper into the situation. One of the things I'm glad that God has changed in me is that I'm not nearly as judgmental as I was a few years ago. Verse 25, some of the people of Jerusalem therefore said, is not this the man whom they seek to kill? So see, the crowd says, who's trying to kill you? And now some of them admit that they are trying to kill him. So, look, whenever you try to get a crowd of people to see the truth and all admit to it and all agree to it at the same time, you're basically wasting your time. That's never going to happen. Verse 26, and here he is speaking openly, and they say nothing to him. Can it be that the authorities really know that this is the Christ? All right. See, the people are wondering and saying, look, we know these guys. We know the Pharisees and Sadducees want to kill Jesus. And yet here he is out in the open and they're not trying to stop him. So they're saying, do they really know that this is the Christ? In other words, maybe they know something we don't know. I mean, we're not quite too sure about him. Okay, this crowd is arguing with Jesus and saying he's got a demon and all that, but some of them know that the authorities want to kill him. They're just trying to figure out who he is. And they're thinking maybe they got insider information knowing he's the Christ, but not killing him right then and there because, Anyway, verse 27, but we know where this man comes from, and when the Christ appears, no one will know where he comes from. Now, that's just, they just had that opinion about that. They didn't really know. The Bible didn't say we wouldn't know where he came from. Verse 28, so Jesus proclaimed, as he taught in the temple, you know me, and you know where I come from. But I have not come of my own accord. He who sent me is true, and him you do not know. I know him, for I come from him, and he sent me. So they were seeking to arrest him, but no one laid a hand on him, because his hour had not yet come. Yet many of the people believed in him. They said, when the Christ appears, will he do more signs than this man has done? All right, now here's the thing. They believed in him, but they didn't believe he was the Christ, because they said, when the Christ appears, will he do more signs than this man has done? And, sometimes we believe in God or we believe in Jesus, but we don't believe in all the way. We believe in some good things about him, and they've definitely believed in some good things about this guy, because he did a lot of great signs and things, but they weren't quite connecting all the dots and saying this is the Christ. They said, look, when this Christ comes, is he going to do more than him? But maybe they were just wrestling with it, And honestly, we all have to start somewhere. And I think for a lot of these people, they were starting. That's where their faith was beginning. They were looking at the miracles of Jesus, and the faith was starting to grow. So I would encourage you in a couple of ways. First of all, if this is sort of the beginning, your introduction into Jesus, if you just stumbled across these broadcasts somehow, it's okay. I mean, believe what you have seen so far. Believe in that and let your faith start to grow. Secondly, if you're somebody who's been around a while and you look at other people, don't be too quick to judge them if their walk with God's not quite where yours is, or if their faith level is not quite where yours is, because maybe they haven't had the time to grow, or the circumstances, or God's not done with them yet. Okay, it's okay if you're right here for a while. All right, you shouldn't stay there, but it's okay if your faith is at a low level, and it will continue to grow. I know mine has grown over and over and over again over time. My faith in God's much, much stronger, much deeper now than it was years ago. And I would imagine most of us who've been around a while would say the same thing. All right, got to stop there. We see one last point. We see that they wanted to arrest Jesus, but his time had not yet come, which means everything about his arrest, his crucifixion, all of that was under his control and under God's control. And you need to rest assured, anything happening to you is also under God's control. And when it's time for certain things to happen, they'll happen. And when it's not time for them to happen, they won't happen. And you just need to trust him on that. Come back tomorrow. I'm way over. Come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.